Hello, Guardians, and welcome to Destiny Reset, episode 172. This show is about anything and everything related to the Destiny franchise. If you love playing Destiny 2 as much as we do, you're in the right place. This Reset, Cyborg returns as we prepare for the end of the Season of the Outlaw. We learn about what's in store for Season 5, talk about Activision's expectations for Destiny 2, and discuss what role RNG should play in in-game activities. Hello, Guardians, and welcome. It's AER0KNIGHT, and back this week, Mr. CyborgSasquatch. What's up, dude?
Hello, Guardian.
We missed you.
I missed you guys.
It was
good to be back.
I mean, it was fantastic having Joe on, but you're still usually on when Joe's on, and man, it's good to have you back, buddy.
Well, that's why you were able to keep it under 2 hours, because I wasn't there either.
That's funny.
But it was cool. You always mention when you miss a recording that you enjoy listening, and I did enjoy
fun,
listening this week as well. Yeah, it's pretty, it's not a bad show, if I do say myself.
It's always cool to be on that end of DRP.
For sure. But I miss talking to Joe, but we'll have him on again another time. And it's good to be back live with you, my friend.
How was the nationwide or worldwide pineapple pizza testing tour?
I found that 10 out of 10 pineapple pizzas were terrible. My
All across
suspicions
the
were
world.
Confirmed. Yep. Yep. I tested. I did the really hard and dangerous work of
we figured you were the best
this.
one to send.
Yep, it's true. My suspicions were confirmed.
Well, welcome back, buddy.
Thank you. All right, how about a quick announcement real quick?
Yes.
Just want to give a shout out. If you're not in our Discord, please come and take a look. We've got some community stuff coming up. Our new ambassadors have been charged with creating community events. And we have one coming up, a small one, put on by our buddy The Beard, MB. And it'll take place in our Discord, just a fun little contest. So if you're not in our Discord, come join it. Discord.gg/Destiny Reset. Great place where you can find lots of Guardians hanging out, talking about Destiny, other games sometimes, find people to play with, check your Destiny stats with Charlemagne, and all kinds of other fun stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we said it last week. That many have been joining over the last couple months, and the classic phrase is, wow, I can't believe I waited this long to join. And we also reminded listeners too, you can always lurk. You don't have to jump right in and start chatting if you just want to join. And
you may lurk.
Lurking is allowed.
Yes.
So come on in.
I'm a quite lurky
lurker.
Yeah.
Lurky lurker.
It's just my way. And then I'll just pop in once in a blue moon and throw something out and disappear.
Like, oh, he is still there.
Yeah. Gotta remind people I'm alive. So that's our only announcement this week. Besides, if you're listening, if you're in the US, we wish you a happy Thanksgiving.
Of course. Yes. Happy Thanksgiving, Guardians.
Yeah. That's coming up next week, man. Can you believe that?
I know. And then, right around the corner, Christmas. Got to slow it down, dude.
It doesn't this time of year. It's just going to come at you.
We'll
be doing our end of the year wrap up before you know it
coming up. So.
Oh yeah, the Black Friday.
Yes, got some things I'm looking for.
Scariest day of the year.
Well, I usually work it, but we've actually been closed the last couple of years. I usually always would just work then because usually it's a slow day at work.
Yeah.
Everybody's out shopping. I
So
do
you
not
guys
work
have been
in retail.
closed then?
So, we've actually been closed for the last couple of years. So,
that seems to be more the case. Pretty much it just has started to be Black Friday. It's just restaurants and retail, and everybody else
in retail, dude. Man,
yeah.
I props to all of you retail.
Oh, I would be feared for my life to work that day.
I remember just like not knowing who was next in line in the sales business I was in, and you just kind of had to like mentally take note and hope that somebody didn't get frustrated if you accidentally skipped them. Like, and then it's just nonstop.
You know, if you're outside the US, you probably have just seen like the scary part of Black Friday, and that's not as common. Like people aren't insane like that, but you know, there's just a lot of people trying to get an item or two that they want. And so there's a lot of people waiting around and being impatient. But what I don't like that's starting to become the trend in the past year or two is how they've stretched it out past actual Black Friday.
Oh yeah.
Like a lot of stores open now Thanksgiving night.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not going
to
Walmart or something on Thanksgiving night. Like,
no, but people
do. I know, but it just takes away from the actual holiday. And
right. It's
in
like
the online deals is the worst because it used to be Cyber Monday or Black Friday. Now they stretch everything out over a week, and I don't know. Okay, do I wait for a better deal? Is this the thing I should get? Should I get it from this place?
Yeah, and they'll even start those online ones on Thanksgiving Day. So it's like, you don't want to be like, I'm trying to phone for the deals.
I'm trying to enjoy the holiday, and
there should be their rule. Like there's a window before and after where it doesn't need to be.
So like the past couple of years, I've totally ignored the whole retail part of that because it was just too much to try to keep. I'm like, to save a couple $100, I got to make myself crazy.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm trying to buy something.
Yeah. I will gladly at a certain point of the weekend shop online, but I have no desire to actually go physically to a store. I even avoid it as much as possible until after the new year. I still do what we need to do for the holiday shopping and stuff, but no extra trips. So,
well,
yeah.
Anyways,
how are your shopping patterns, Guardians?
Yeah, we hope you have a happy Thanksgiving and not too much stress from Black Friday.
Yes.
All right, some news.
This
week at Bungie, we brought the thunder.
Thunderous. Great ringtone.
Yes. Many among you have followed the trail to Master Rive's killer. And you know, at the end of the rainbow is a pot of gold called the Thunderlord. What do you think, man? How did it feel to have Thunderlord in your hands again?
Well, it was cool nonetheless, but the thing is a beast. It's an absolute beast.
Oh my gosh.
On top of that.
So good.
It's like following the new pattern of Bungie's exotics. Many of them, it seems like, since Forsaken, and it just destroys, man. I very quickly infused it up to 300 because for some reason I got it at 598, and I said 300, the classic 300, still do that. 600, why is that? But dude, the thing is a beast. I love the new perk, the lightning bolt from the sky.
That's really cool how they
cool.
kind of changed it up a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cool. What do you think? You digging it?
It's super fun, man. It made me realize just how much I miss heavy machine guns, and really in Destiny 1, I most often had a heavy machine gun equipped in that slot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they were just so good. And it made me remember, the very first time I got a heavy machine gun in Destiny 1. Like, you know, it was the first like couple weeks of Destiny. I didn't know anything about the game. I was just learning like about weapon classes, and I had one drop. It was a blue, I think. And I looked and I equipped it. I was like, guys, I have this. What is this? It's like a machine gun. Oh, but it looks bigger than the auto right. Is this good? And I remember I equipped it, and I was in the, what was the name of the strike? The one with the servitor.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking
You're gonna
about.
test us. You're gonna test us.
But I'm in that middle room. You know the middle room where you have to clear out everything before the door opens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I equipped it in there, and then I just like let go a barrage of bullets, just like ding, ding, ding. And I was like, guys, this is awesome. And like just blowing everything away. And they're like, what did you do? And I was like, you gotta get a heavy machine gun.
They're back.
It just brought back that memory for some reason. And that's how it felt when I equipped Thunderlord, and I landed in the Tangled Shore, and just started unloading, and I was like, yes, this is what power feels like.
Well, see, I already use, I mean, I've mentioned it several times, like I'm the auto rifle Actium half-wall Titan, you know, so I'm already have like a minigun going on. So then you throw on this thing, and as powerful as it is, like I missed heavy machine guns too. And I always get confused. I go look at that perk for Actium, and it says specifically that it's for auto rifles. Why do because I get ammo, I get that back for my heavy machine gun too. Like it replenishes it almost just like it does with an auto rifle. I don't know if that's like intended or like if it's
correct me if I'm wrong. I thought I remembered the original Thunderlord returning ammo back to the mag. Maybe I'm thinking of a different one, but I didn't think Actium was working that way.
Yeah, see,
Thunderlord.
It does. I tested it. It's like it replenishes my active clip.
Interesting.
But Actium, you know, says like steadily reload your equipped auto rifles mag. So maybe +2. I bet you what it is most of the time I'm chilling behind a. I bet you when I think that's happening, I'm chilling behind a rally barricade, and it's that doing it. Yeah, because
the way rally barricade works now is that, yeah. It's funny because I had seen some comments on Twitter and Reddit, and they were like, Actium War Rig should work on the heavy machine guns. I was like, yeah, yes, it should.
It really should. And then have you seen? That's exactly what it is. It's my half wall. Have you seen the heavy lifting perk? I've seen a couple videos today where I think it's heavy lifting on the helm. People are getting and I'm wondering if this is going to be tweaked, just not factoring Bungie. Maybe I don't know. I'm sure they thought about it, but you get super from heavy or power weapon kills.
Right.
So people are getting their super in like 15 to 20 seconds.
Oh wow!
With that enhanced heavy lifting perk on a helm.
Yeah.
And just laying waste.
Heavy lifting, I bet that's nasty.
Yeah, so like I watched a clip, a couple different YouTubers today posted like they're getting supers in 15, no joke, 15, 20 seconds, supers back up.
That's cool.
Stuff.
Mercury is our buddy. He was on a couple weeks ago. If you missed it, he tweeted he was looking at Thunderlord. He tweeted, looks like Thunderlord is doing 41 crit, 30 body in PvP. So 5 crits optimal against all resiliency levels, 7 bodies to kill. 450 RPM means the optimal TTK is 0.53 seconds. Body shot is 0.8 seconds. That's very fast.
Yes. I was using it in Gambit and killed I invaded with it, dude, and just melted a couple Guardians.
I've seen some Gambit invasion clips with it. It's nasty.
Yeah, it's
nasty.
It meets the expectations of the way exotics are feeling, a lot of them in Forsaken.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, so Thunderlord is back and heavy machine guns are back,
and
I'm super excited about that. Worth mentioning with the Bungie Rewards program, if you've received it, you've unlocked the ability to buy a pretty cool t-shirt. It appears to be the Pale Rider Death on a horse wielding a lightning bolt and a Thunderlord.
It's interesting.
Designed by Elliot Gray, who is one of their art designers. He does a lot of shirts. Very cool. I also saw on Twitter, this is really cool. It's either the shirt is either glow in the dark or it lights up with a black light. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. There were, I think it might be a black light. I'm not sure, but it has some kind of crazy ink on it,
Right.
and it's a long sleeve as well, which has me thinking I might buy it because I don't have many long sleeve Destiny shirts.
Yeah, no, I don't think I have any Destiny ones. I was gonna say about the whole quest, I kind of want to go through and play it with another character because I have that classic like, and it could be on my own process of playing through it over the last few weeks. Maybe I need to pay attention a little bit more on this particular quest. I don't really know what happened. I need to go. It's like the classic Destiny feeling of like there was something, but maybe I missed something.
You feel like you might be missing something, but it's really not much there.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I have like was pointed out to me that I saw online that I didn't notice in the second week is when you go to the final lost sector, there is it this week? Last week? I don't know. The one where you do the lost sectors.
Yeah.
There is a
that was last week, and then you go back into it this week again.
Yeah, so Ives is his robe or what have you was displayed like as a trophy. Mm-hmm. And that was the only thing I didn't notice when I actually did it. But yeah, we're not even talking about, we went back to the Cosmodrome.
Oh, no, that was cool. That was awesome.
That was pretty cool, and it was snowy.
Yeah.
Right?
I always have
not
this,
like the original.
Right, yeah. I always have this feeling like when I, for example, getting Thunderlord back, I think is cool. I don't really, I don't think it's like regurgitated resources. And like going back to the Cosmodrome, I have this feeling like maybe some Guardians are like, why couldn't we go somewhere new or something? But when I didn't realize we were going to land back like right there where it all started.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm thinking about the Derptage, like that's how it starts, at the very beginning, looking at your hands, and it's like, wow, this is pretty cool, dude. It's like this was actually pretty neat just to go back here for like this little quick snippet, to experience it again. And then in the music, of course.
It had some
cool.
Rise of Iron music in there.
Yeah.
Some of the original Destiny Cosmodrome music.
I dug it. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
And then if you're a Gear 4 Guardian or whatever they're called now these days, or you maybe just never even saw this, the whole mission is a callback to the original like E3 playable demo of Destiny 1.
Yeah, dude. It was even going in that room.
Start there and you would take the same route and you would go to that room and this enormous captain would come out of that hole,
dude.
He would die and then the character picked up Thunderlord. Like that's the whole, I think that's part of the reason why they did it this way.
So cool. Walking back into that room, man. Like I just had that moment again, man, of like, wow, back here.
I was disappointed too, because I wanted to see him crawl out of the hole. And when it first started, there were just some ads coming in. I was like, okay, well, let me kill these ads and maybe then he comes out. And so I like go over the side, I'm killing the ads. And then all of a sudden I hear him, he's like, I'm like, no, I missed him coming out of the hole, man. I was real disappointed, but, I'm going to do it on another character so I can go do it again.
Yeah. It was cool.
When you finish that portion, did you go back and do some of the scannables?
I didn't. No, I did see that though after I completed it.
You can watch them on Twitter actually if you go follow a non-pig who is a Destiny lore guy. He has some captures of them on his Twitter if you want to go watch them.
Yeah.
But when you return, you can kind of explore the exterior area a little bit, and there's some scannables talking about, kind of what's going on in the area. There's one with Amanda talking to you about how this is where you were found. It's cool. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did very much, man.
I mean, that part of it was really cool. The quest leading up to it felt a little underbaked. Mm-hmm. We'll put it that way.
Well, plus the time frame. We kind of talked about that last week too. Like, I definitely get some of the criticisms of the week waiting period for it. I see the reasoning for it or the point. And it definitely was a little bit more of a casual quest chain.
Yeah, there's no grind to it.
Yeah.
Like, where's the grind, man?
Yeah. But it definitely felt, it felt like it lasted a while, being every weekly reset for the steps that there were. So I guess now would be the time, like if you go do it now, you, which the TWAB mentions, right, you have until the 27th, right, the end of the season to do this quest in these steps. After that, the Thunderlord will go into the exotic loot pool, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. I was actually surprised that they were going to do that too. So it's going to go.
So if you were going to do the quest, do it now, because you don't have to wait each week to kind of experience the whole thing. Yeah. And then I kind of like that I do kind of like the way they did this with the Thunderlord, because if you want it right away, the reward, you go kind of do the steps and do the quest, and then a few weeks later it just goes into the general loot pool. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, it's cool. If you do it now, if you hadn't started any of it, I think you do one step, and then you have to let the daily reset happen, and then you do the next step. Yeah. So it takes about 3 different days to complete it. Reset.
See, and that's what I thought it was going to be when it started. Like, I thought it was going to be a daily reset thing. Not a 3-week thing.
That's what I thought too, but it didn't play out that way.
Yeah.
Well, let us know if you're listening what you think about Thunder Bay. And I'm enjoying the heck out of it, man. It's such a great gun.
It's immediately.
I brought it into the raid this week. I brought it into Gambit.
You just feel so powerful, man. Like Rambo shooting those heavy machine guns, dude. And it's I was running 3 legendaries because in my PvE go-to loadout, I was still running like legendary rocket launchers. So I had a opening spot for an exotic, so boom.
There you go.
There we go.
That's right there. Now where you get to talk about the future season of the Forge and beyond. They mention with Thunderlord in play at the end of the trail, the season of the Outlaw has revealed its very last mystery. Now it's time to talk about season of the Forge, which they never exactly explained this last week, but the new season does beginning on November 27th. See, what people weren't sure about was they were saying, okay, this season ends November 27th, but Black Armory doesn't release, as far as we knew, until the beginning of December. They hadn't actually dated it.
Right.
So what happens in between? And so the season does start. It's just that annual pass content doesn't start until I think the date on that is December 4th. But we will have the new season begins, and they mention on the day it arrives, they're going to release a new vid doc, a full gameplay calendar to illustrate what awaits your Guardian for the rest of the year. I'm assuming that would be through this year, not through next year.
See, that's what I thought too. And then when you read on, it says your Starside journeys will span 3 distinct seasons that will unfold over the rest of the year. So,
I think that's a typo. I think that they're probably going to talk about, because of course we're going to have, we know we have the Dawning, that's coming. So they're probably going to lay out like, here's what's coming over the next, 4 weeks or so.
Right.
Over the holiday season and stuff. And I doubt that they're going to lay out the whole rest of the year with the other seasons, but they do have a little graphic with the seasons pictured. Season of the Forge, we have a Exo, looks like a female Exo. Season of the Drifter, I love this picture. If you look at it, it reminds me of old Metal Gear illustrations.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember those? Doesn't it look like that?
It does, big time.
I love it, man. The Drifter looking sinister and cool. And then Season of the Redacted with what appears to be one of the tower bots with a sword on his back.
Yeah, people were speculating that they thought maybe it was Benedict.
Well,
in front of the Leviathan.
Here's
but it's
my
not
theory.
confirmed,
so
obviously.
There's another bot that I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, lore guys, you can. There is a lore piece from original Destiny 2 where Benedict was working on another bot. I think it was Dahlia something, and he's tweaking with its computer basically. And my theory is that is this bot.
Okay.
I don't know for sure. This could be Benedict though. Either way, interesting concept, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I don't know if you caught this on Twitter today. It's one of those things I hate to spoil, but it's going to be all over Reddit and Twitter and everything this week. So everybody's going to see it anyways. There was a picture somebody pulled off the Blizzard launcher with some details on the seasons. And according to that, this final season will be called Season of the Shadow, which is pretty much what I was theorizing it would be, something with Shadow. I can actually, let me pull this up. I could read some of this.
Yeah, I saw that those images or those pages were out there on the Blizzard launcher. I actually was thinking some of this stuff, the way they were teasing it and the way the community was talking about it, really thought something was going to get kind of shown with this quest we were doing for Thunderlord. Obviously, that wasn't the case. That was some speculation. But obviously, these seasons are going to trickle out to us differently than what we've had in the past. It's going to be kind of like over the season, we're going to get content, it seems like. Right. Versus, a full expansion drops and we grind through all that content. So yeah. I wonder how it's going. I guess, we'll obviously see more info in the vidoc, but, if it's going to be like time gate-ish type stuff or just, hey, we're going to release stuff as the season unfolds versus laying it all on you at once.
So I'm going to read this. Take this with a grain of salt. I have not explored the Blizzard launcher and confirmed that this is, in fact, 100% legit, but it seems to be pretty real. It's got basically a little flavor explanation text on each of these seasons. So we've got Black Armory. Discover weapons of light and fury. Add the Black Armory's treasure to your legend. Black Armory will be delivered over the course of the Season of the Forge from December 4th to March 4th. This includes access to the Black Armory, new activity, the Lost Forges, new raid, exotic weapons, quests, triumphs, and collections. We've got Joker's Wild. Gambit was only the beginning, and the Drifter is ready to deal you another deadly hand. Joker's Wild will be delivered over the course of the Season of the Drifter in spring 2019. More details to come. And then finally, Penumbra. Only the brave will learn what lurks in the shadow. Only the strong will survive its teeth. Penumbra will be delivered over the course of the Season of the Shadow in summer 2019. More details to come. This looks real.
You have it. Yeah.
So get back to the TWAB here. Going off on a tangent.
All the outlets or mediums to throw up stuff, it's the Blizzard launcher.
yeah, right. So we've got that stuff coming up. When I guess this is going to be the following reset, we will see some information about Season of the Forge. I'm very interested to see what they've got in store for us.
Yeah, I'm loving these vidocs too. Kind of lay out the seasons for us. They're so good.
For sure. Next up, if you missed it this week, there was a Gambit Bungie bounty or play along. I almost said raid along, but Gambit along on Monday, Monday morning. And I wasn't able to watch the whole thing. I didn't catch it Monday. I started watching the recording. I did catch some highlights and some notes of some things they talked about. It's up on Twitch if you want to go back and watch it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've got to go. I haven't even started it yet.
Yeah, hearing them talk about it. But they did detail some changes and some things that we can look forward to with Season 5. So they have some notes here from designer Robbie Stevens with a list of updates. So Gambit bounties, infamy rank point awards for all bounties have been doubled. Numerous dailies, daily challenges, and weeklies have had their objectives retuned to take less time and be easier to complete. And a new bounty has been added to the daily rotation that requires Primeval Envoy kills. Sounds like great stuff there.
Just more rewarding Gambit experience.
For rewards in Infamy, subdivision rank ups now award Gambit legendary weapons or armor. Goodbye blues. So what this means, when you go from one Infamy division, say from Guardian to, I don't even remember after that, Myth Air. I don't know the whole thing off the top of my head, but you know what I mean. There's in between that, there's like 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah,
and
there's 3 tiers for
those
each.
3 tiers, usually you would just get some blues rewarded. So what they're promising now is we'll get some actual Gambit legendary weapons and armor, which this is great because a lot of people have had a hard time getting the weapons or armor that they want from Gambit.
Oh yeah, dude.
So that it'll definitely.
I've had one trust drop.
Yeah.
That's it. No bygones. No other trust.
I mean, my buddy had already gone through 3 resets and couldn't get the shotgun to drop out of all that play.
I haven't gotten it. Yeah.
So this should help with that.
Isn't the what's the auto rifle too? Isn't it the
Hazard of the Cast?
Yeah, I haven't gotten it to drop either. I really want to shoot that.
I like
thing
it.
too.
I was playing with that last night actually. Primeval catch-up mechanics. So teams that summon their Primeval second can only receive 1 catch-up stack of Primeval Slayer. So previously you would receive multiple stacks depending on how far behind you are. For instance, if the leading team had 7 stacks of Primeval Slayer, when the trailing team summoned, they would receive 4 stacks. Now they will only receive 1. What do you think about this change, man?
There's been all kinds of conversation going on with the behind the scenes of Gambit this week. It seems like they kind of got pretty in depth with this. It's been a couple resets now, didn't they? Like explaining it, like how what's happening behind the scenes with like some of this catch up stuff and things of that nature. Didn't they talk about it a little bit?
So
I don't know if
there was a question people have had. Is there any other form of catch-up mechanic in the game? And they did state during the ride-along that this is the only catch-up mechanic in the game. People have put out ideas that there's other types of mechanics like changing enemy lethality and different things like that. They said, look, when you go from round 1 to round 2 to round 3, there are tougher enemies. As you go to the higher rounds, more majors, more orange bars, red, you name it. So things do get more lethal in terms of like the enemy, how the enemy is composed, but they don't do more or less damage depending on where, if you're catching up behind or ahead. I mean, I was reading this very detailed post of this guy swearing up and down that that's the case. And I read some good conversation, people, theorizing that what he saw happening might be due to network lag and some other things that make sense to me. I'm going to take their word at face value. I mean, I've played a lot of Gambit. I don't think there's any other mechanics at play besides the Primeval Slayer stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's definitely been a topic of conversation on several different occasions. Like in this particular one, I mean, I don't know how it's going to feel when we actually are experiencing this tweak. Obviously, they're testing it. But I definitely have those instances, more so playing Gambit solo, that it's like you start to freak out after, even if you summon it first, the Primeval first, because if it's been very long at all, those stacks are happening. And before you know it, this game you thought you had won from the start, you lose. So that isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's great to be able to make a comeback. I just, sometimes it seems like the team shouldn't really have been able to come back maybe as quickly as they did, because of those 4 stacks. Now going down to being only able to get 1, I don't know, that seems like it might, again, I'm sure they're testing it, but it seems like it might make the comebacks quite a bit less frequent. I don't know. We'll just have to play it and see. What do you think?
as much as I've played, I don't have a problem with the way the systems have worked. I've been in a lot of games where we summoned first, we had a good enough lead that summoning first, we still won the round. Most of the time, they're just getting their primeval up when ours is getting killed. I mean, there's a pretty significant advantage you can gain by being very efficient at clearing ads and banking your moats. And
and just like anything else, it's definitely a different experience solo versus playing with your fire
Absolutely.
team.
I think that a lot of complaints and poor experiences players have come from playing solo or in various configurations of 2 or 3 or 4 people. And I think, unfortunately, just like any competitive multiplayer mode, your experience is not going to be as good when you're not in a full team that's organized.
Experience may vary.
Yeah, I've and going in with a full team of, guys with a strategy, we've come back on some rounds that we had no business winning, but we have a very set way and strategy and mindset for different scenarios. We know exactly what we got to do to make it happen. Sometimes it's hard to do, but if you play your cards right and you perform and you can invade and you can do the things you need to do, I mean, we've just come back on some rounds just because we had a great invader going in, keeping them from their primeval. And one way or another, you've got to get your envoys down to get those stacks. Even if you're coming back with that catch up mechanic, there's still stuff you have to do to kill the primeval. And I'm just coming from my experience where I've been on both sides, and I think it worked fine, but people aren't happy with it as well. So hopefully
there's so many things at play too. I mean, the invading aspect of that is huge too. I mean, a lot of those games maybe that I've lost where the team comes back, it's their invader just starts doing work, right?
It plays a really big role. And then being able to be coordinated and knock out the envoys quickly and have the correct super and heavy and special ammo usage to clear certain ads and kill the envoys. And then how are you burning your primeval? All those things play into it. If you're summoning first and the team is coming back on you, it's either because you're getting your butt stomped by an invader, or you do not have an organized way of taking your primeval out, and the other team does. That's the only reason that happens. So, to me, it just kind of comes down to your gameplay. It's up to you. But I think that this is definitely going to make it harder to come back. We'll just have to play it and see, I think I can, if I was behind, even with one stack, I think I could still come back and do it. Unless we were just...
Yeah, especially if your team's coordinated. Yeah.
Unless we were just way far behind and they had 7, 8 stacks, Sometimes there's nothing you can do. If it's a well-coordinated team and they get it up first and you're not doing anything to interfere, if you don't go in and have successful invasions, they're going to burn it. There's nothing you can do about it. And that's just a good team. Don't let them get it up first,
Right. It's
There's
it's
two
different,
sides to
but
each
reminds
match.
me of playing racing games throughout my gaming career. There's a lot of racing games always have that catch up mechanic. Not like your Forzas of the world, and Gran Turismos, but other maybe more
Rubber
arcade
banding
casual racing games. Yeah, and it's different, obviously, in Destiny, but you've got to have something there because, it's if a team's just getting absolutely destroyed, there's got to be something in place, some mechanic like the invading, healing the primeval, stuff like that, to allow for a comeback. I mean, that's what generates the excitement and to make your team feel like, okay, we could still be in this thing. So obviously something needs to be there. Now, again, I've said many times over the last several shows, it's a delicate balance. I mean, you don't want any team to be able to come back just with some, casual teamwork and play. It needs to be coordinated and effort put forth. But I don't know. Like you said, like we've mentioned, we're just gonna have to play this and see how it feels. You've played quite a bit more Gambit, I think, than I have. I've put some time in, but I don't think near as much as you have.
My only concern is them going to, right, so this is classic Bungie. They're going from one extreme to the other, right? So
I mean, yeah.
So from 3 or 4, however many stacks you could get to 1, my concern is, are they going to be able to, if this is too severe, like if it places too high of a disadvantage on the second summoning team, and it ultimately makes the matches less competitive, like, how much pushback are they going to have when they increase those stacks? And how many is it going to be? Okay, are they going to go to 2 now? Like, when do we start splitting hairs? So I guess we'll see how it plays. Hopefully it plays well. I'm sure they've been testing it, playing it internally. But again, them testing stuff internally is nothing compared to when you put it in the hands of millions of players and there's thousands and thousands of matches happening, right? So we'll find out. Finally, they mentioned Ascendant Primeval. They identified an issue that was causing the Ascendant Primeval to not always award credit to the correct team when killed. Can you imagine?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that'd be heartbroken. One thing that not in the notes here, but was mentioned during the stream, is that in the next season, they are planning to have a pinnacle weapon for Gambit, comparable to what's the name of the Crucible pinnacle weapon that I'm thinking of?
Lunasal.
I guess like that, or broadsword, right?
Yeah,
something like that. So that's exciting,
which is cool.
Yeah,
that'll
give me like something that I want to earn there.
All substantial activities I think should have something like that. Gambit would be like Trials equivalent, and you got your Crucible ranks and stuff like that. It's neat just to have a pinnacle weapon like that geared towards that activity, if that's how you like to spend your time.
We were some of my friends and I were discussing just that I think last night, and some of the suggestions were that it would be awesome to have pinnacle weapons for every in-game activity. So Nightfalls, or the Raid, or of course we have Crucible, you've got Gambit, maybe something for Strike, for each different major activity. It would be awesome to have a pinnacle weapon that really you can only get at the highest level, right? You have to accomplish a lot of objectives, really grind and work hard for, and it could make those activities a lot more engaging and desirable for the people that want to play them. There is, it's worth mentioning, there is a shotgun available from Zavala if you grind out your Nightfall score rep.
Nightfall strikes,
which, is very similar, but,
there's definitely different layers of that you could even add to like the build aspect of the game. Like I always think about the Taken, mods, right? Now, granted, typically you're not going to want to, that's a very specific build, but let's say they didn't want, every time you jump in a strike, everyone needs to throw on this pinnacle weapon, or you're like handicapping yourself. You could definitely even explore it in the mod territory, right?
Sure,
ways to mod your armor and weapons for specific builds and activity. Which they've kind of done with
like
Forsaken a little bit. The Dreaming City gear and stuff.
Yeah, I'd really like to see, especially with raids, and I think Gambit could be really cool to have
whole separate
activity-specific perks, or
it's really
abilities and things on armor. I this is a tangent, but I think that the raid armor is really undervalued because there aren't any raid-specific perks on the armor. It has the ability to drop with enhanced perks, and that's great, but they're pretty rare comparatively, and I can wear anything else, you know, ahead of the raid armor. It really, the raid armor has no value for me besides collecting it.
Right.
And showing it off. And I think that the Gambit armor as well, it's really cool, but there's nothing unique about it. And I would love to see some Gambit
where,
perks,
like,
you know,
the old conversation of gear set bonuses coming back into play.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand why we have, like, I like having diverse options in terms of armor and different armor sets, but at the end of the day, what's the point if there's nothing unique about it besides the skin on it? You know, why don't we have activity specific perks so that, you know, okay, I'm going into Gambit, I'm a sweaty Gambit player, let me put on my full Gambit set because it gives me, you know, additional damage to envoys and additional damage to HVTs, or buffs me against Taken blocker. You know, I mean, like, stuff like that would make awesome and total sense to have, but it's just not there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I'm hoping, you know, these, you know, we're getting to, they're not core aspects of the game. They're more quality of life things and stuff like that. I guess maybe implementation of new mods could still be done over the year, but I'm excited for the rest of the year and maybe seeing some more of this layered on. Also, because of what we mentioned in previous episodes, like I haven't even started to get to, like, all the different types of builds I want to create for my Guardian just in this current sandbox. So I'm looking forward to, like, throughout the year, maybe not being so overwhelmed with content, even though it's totally an okay thing. That, you know, you can get into that whole meta game where you're focusing on builds. So if they add more layers to that, I mean, it's just more depth for the game, right? It would be really neat to see. I've talked about gear sets for so long now. Like, it would be cool if you had to think about whether you wanted to throw on an exotic or not because of the gear set bonus you get with your Gambit full set or something, kind of like you mentioned. Even if they didn't make you make that decision, even if you only had to have 4 pieces on or something like that, it would just be neat, you know, like, I'm going to throw this particular build of mine on and let's go in and let's do some Gambit.
Yeah.
Right? So.
And I think kind of how you mentioned, mods could be a great way to do that. You know, they did that in the latter half of Destiny 2 Year 1 with the raid, layers, when they added the raid specific perks on mods that you could pop in and out. And that would be a great solution for activities like this, because they could just over time just add in mods that you could earn through those activities, through packages and just different things, where, you know, then you can have any armor or that armor. Maybe you could only equip it, but you could choose if you want to have that or a different mod in its place, and kind of do different builds. Well,
all would be good
finally, this next week is their send off for Season of the Outlaw. I think they mean, this is Season of the Outlaw, right? I forget what it was even called. What better way to celebrate than letting the Drifter sweeten the pot a little? So we get double infamy, the 20th through the 23rd, and then triple infamy, the 23rd through the 27th. So it's a great chance to get those Gambit infamy resets if you haven't got them in yet.
Did you get your 3?
Oh yeah. I knocked them out for sure, especially with that triple infamy last time. Oh my gosh. Third one didn't take long at all. So that's all in Gambit world. Next up, over in Destiny player support, they want to remind you that if you're working on seasonal triumphs and objectives, you've got till November 27th. When Season of the Forge begins, all your ranks reset, and incomplete triumphs for Season of the Outlaw will expire. So things that will reset are Nightfall rank, Valor rank, Glory rank, Infamy rank. Any incomplete triumph or quest step that requires players to complete objectives in any single season, and all incomplete triumphs with Season 4 in the title will expire and be removed at the start of Season of the Forge. Examples of items that will not reset or expire: quests for Pinnacle Crucible weapons for Season of the Outlaw. If you currently have a quest item in inventory, it will not be removed. If you're on a step requiring a specific rank or number of rank resets in a season, progress will be lost. Your quest will remain on that step, however, and may be completed in the following season. And then finally, any incomplete triumph or quest step that requires players to complete objectives across all seasons.
I've gotten to the point where I've actually been, I know you've been doing this for a little bit, but I've been paying attention to the titles, some of the other titles a little bit more other than just the Crucible one. Mm-hmm. So like the Wayfarer title and stuff like that, are there things inside of that will reset?
I don't think any of the titles will, unless it has a triumph that requires things across multiple resets, right? So
yeah, if it says season 4, like they said, obviously, but it got me thinking because like I have put on my to-do list, like to start working on maybe some more of those. Mm-hmm. And then I read this and I'm like, wait, not that I'm going to have too much progress lost probably, but, it's like, okay,
yeah, I don't think any of those triumphs. So say for instance, you mentioned Wayfarer, and say they require you to do a certain number of heroic adventures on Io. From what I understand, that will not reset because it doesn't require you to do it in a single season.
Okay.
It just requires you to do it, period. So you should be fine on that front.
Cool.
Next up, they talk about prismatic facets. You have till November 27th to spin those. If you have prismatic facets from Season of the Outlaw, they'll expire and no longer be available for use in the prismatic matrix. Also, of course, the current engrams, steadfast engrams in the Eververse will be removed, replaced with a new type of bright engram with new items. Couple things about Gambit bounties. If you have any Gambit bounties from this season and you keep it in your inventory, when it transitions, you'll have to complete a Gambit match to turn it in.
Weird little details.
Yeah. Next up, keep in mind between Season of the Forge and when Black Armory launches December 4th, there will be a 1-week window in which Destiny 2 will be in a state of transition, and players may encounter a number of unforeseen issues. So keep your eyes out for weird stuff.
Week transition into new content. We've already experienced it once.
Yep. Finally, we got our movies of the week. Go check those out if you so dare. Next up, this coming weekend, Last Wish is on their mind. There's a Last Wish raid along Monday, November 19th, 10 a.m. Pacific. And that was This Week at Bungie.
There you have it.
Yeah. In other news, there was an interesting occurrence. The old Activision yearly call with its investors took place. And
man, I feel like it happens more often than yearly. Is it quarterly?
They have quarterly. I don't know if this was the end of the year because I think their calendar year maybe goes through quarter 3. I don't remember. All I know is they had their earnings call and some things were said. According to the publisher, sales for Destiny 2 did not live up to Activision's expectations. Now, the funny thing is this came in just a week after sales data showed that Destiny Forsaken was the top selling video game piece of software in September, ahead of Spider-Man, ahead of Fortnite, ahead of every other thing. Sold more in revenue than any other product. And yet Activision stated that they are not pleased with how it performed. What do you think about this?
It seems there are some other monetary goals in mind, maybe with other avenues of revenue that can be made. I'm not saying the magic word of microtransactions yet, but I just did. I don't know, man. Like it's interesting because the community is and Bungie as a team seems to be pretty content and excited about the future of the game. And then you get this information and it's like, okay, where's the disconnect, right? Obviously the disconnect is with Activision and investors versus the company that's passionately developing this game and doing it for their community, right?
Yeah. What they did mention
it's confusing.
Was they're aware of the fact that the core audience and the people who bought the game and are playing it are very engaged, which probably means that the player population is remaining strong. But they're noticing that they're not pleased with, essentially, this is my take on it. They know how many people bought Destiny 2. They know how many people bought Forsaken, and they're not pleased with that conversion. Basically,
and I mean, what they say makes sense. In other words, those that are invested are staying invested, and people trying to bring new Guardians to the mix isn't quite where they want it to be, and that's noticeable in the sales and the revenue side of it. So, and then there's always the conversation too there about the barrier to entry, right? And how you get to where we are playing the game right now, what that costs, and what that experience is, and what you have to do to get to that point. Both. Again, cost and time invested. So, I mean, that part of what they're saying definitely makes sense.
So, there was a follow-up after this news came out. Luke Smith, if you're aware, one of the Bungie game directors, put up a post on Twitter. He said, "We are not disappointed with Forsaken. We set out to build a game that Destiny players would love, and at Bungie, we love it too. Building Destiny for players who love it is and will remain our focus going forward." They did mention in this sales call, it's worth mentioning, that they will be focusing on getting new content quicker to market and new ways of monetization.
Yeah, that's
the big one.
Section comes in. That's where I was going with that. It seems to me
like Activision's problem with Destiny is they feel like they didn't sell enough copies of Forsaken to Destiny 2 players, and they're not happy with it, how Eververse is performing. And
well, that's Joe and I talked for a little while about Eververse last week, and honestly, in its current state, how pleased we are with it, and I thought about that conversation a little bit more, and it's like, yeah, I mean, we're pleased with it. It rewards it rewards us like crazy, and we don't have to spend any money. That's not what Activision wants, right?
Yeah.
They don't, I mean, it's not that they don't want that, but of course they want it to bring in some monetary value aspects. And if we're feeling like we're getting rewarded and don't feel the need to spend money, I mean, what a balance there, right? Like you've said many times, you have no problem with spending money at Eververse if you're content with the state of the game and feel like you've invested well into an experience that has paid off for you.
Right.
But at the same time, it's very easily turned back the other way, and you feel like, you're being gouged for different things and content that you've already paid for, right?
Yeah, I think
so.
What a their expectations are
for Bungie.
I think that they're too high, I guess. I wouldn't say
we live in a world
of
Fortnite these days.
Absolutely.
Right?
When you're competing against Epic, and let's say you're Activision, you see Epic pulling in $300 million a month on one game, I'm sure you're probably going to be a little disappointed. But that's not
$20 skins.
It's not the game that they have.
Let's hope we don't see that.
Yeah. I think that, I saw a lot of articles after this news came out, and a lot of rhetoric being thrown around about the future of Destiny. I think that everybody needs to calm down a little bit.
Right? Dude, it's funny you say that, because there was even like in some of the mainstream stuff that I listened to, I mean, whatever you want to call mainstream, and even articles that went up by, people we've we've quoted and said things. It's like very generally just saying, yeah, who knows about the future of Destiny at this point? And it's like, hold on a second. Like, I think that's a bit
it was
extreme.
A failure.
Yeah.
I think it's all just clickbait. It's crap.
Which, granted, and to some of their points, I think part of the argument there for Bungie is like, if you look at the sales of D2 base, even though what we have been through up to this point, and then you look at Forsaken, like you said, they're probably comparing the two. There was a big fall off, and now Bungie's working to get that core, core plus extended back to the game. And it's I'm sure it's a challenge, but I mean, good grief, Forsaken, it couldn't be any more of a massive step in the right direction, right? So
yeah.
Hopefully we see that continue.
Indeed. All right, I think that's all the Destiny news this week.
That's all. That's
all, man.
I thought there wasn't
more
much
to come next week.
It always seems like more than we think. Cyborg,
yes.
You've been out a week, dude. Been out of reset. How was your reset, buddy?
Well, man, so, I was out of town and I didn't get to play any before I left. I got back and I got one night last reset to play. So I was squeezing in a bunch of stuff because it was full curse week. And I've been steadily working on different triumphs that I like to complete for different titles and for different triumph scores. So I had to go into the Shattered Throne, went in with a couple buddies, and we got all the corrupted eggs, got that knocked out, got a clear on the Shattered Throne again. And then I did all the Ascendant chests for that week because I needed one for full curse week, got that one unlocked. And then finally, like super late, like 3:00 in the morning, I jumped into some Gambit, got a meatball to show up on like our first or second game. And I got the Sparrow. I needed that. I'm still short. I need the ship for dredging. I need the ship and I need to kill Guardians and their super when they invade. If you guys are listening, if you just please invade with your super, it would be amazing so that I can finish my dredging triumph. Everybody just wants to use funny. Queen's Breaker. So that was, super. Kind of a grind trying to just knock out that stuff. But this week, again, I'm mostly focused on triumphs in the game right now. And, I'm still trying to get 1,000 voices. So we did a raid clear, trying to get another shot at that. Been grinding the Strange Terrain Nightfall. Finally came around. Everybody's been waiting weeks and weeks for Strange Terrain to show up because there's the Osprey rocket launcher that you need for the Wayfarer title. Because you have to have all the Braytech weapons from Warmind for that, as well as the Curse of Osiris and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I've got about 20 clears and don't have it yet.
Oh wow! Even with the new things in place, right?
And everybody I've played it with 3 other people, they all have it now. They've all got it.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh man, I just got to keep grinding this thing. And we've done it different ways. There is a fun way that you can get about a 6-minute clear on the Nightfall. So it is easy to just run over and over. So it's not too bad. And we even went in and did a high score run to try to help use that technique, to help the drop rates. Nothing yet, but I'm just going to keep at it, man. I'm getting that rocket launcher this week. Come hell out of water.
Or that. Man, speaking of the titles, dude, like I'm running across a few more of them here and there in the game. And, maybe that's why it's prompted me to want to shoot for more than just the Crucible one. I love the titles. I love how hard they are to get. I love that you see them sparingly. Obviously, we'll see more and more. I love how they show up actually on your character screen and in the game and underneath your actual gamer tag. It's just, it's a really cool
I've started
thing.
to see a lot more titles in the past couple weeks. I've seen on Twitter, I've seen some folks with Riven's Bane.
The big thing about them is, that even the Gambit one, like, it took some dedication to get it, and it's like, okay, all right, I respect, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, you did what you needed to do to get that. That's cool.
Yeah.
So
it definitely takes some work and some luck. Here's my question.
RNG plays a factor.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of talk about that aspect in particular of a lot of these titles. Specifically, there's Dredgen, Wayfarer, what else? Even Riven's Bane. All of these require you to have certain items in your collection to complete them. And, in my case, Wayfarer, I'm totally hamstrung by RNG on this title because I need 2 more Braytech weapons in the Osprey, and I'm done. But those Braytech weapons come from schematics that you get from doing the on Mars, going to the little war mine. What are they called? Dodecahedrons? I don't even know. These crazy diamond things that you open up, right? And you have a chance at getting a schematic, and you bring it to Anna Bray, and you have a roll at getting the weapon that you need. It's like layers of RNG, like 1 to like 3 layers of RNG that you need to get the right thing. Same thing now with Dredgen. If you go play Gambit, you've got to get the luck of having the meatball show up. Then you have to get the luck of having the ship or sparrow show up, because it's just a roll now. It's not a guarantee. So there's all these layers of RNG that you have to grind to get these items to actually get that title. And I get the frustration people have. Like, I'm not too far from some of them, but I don't know how long it's going to take for me to get them. I'm just kind of every day trying to do something to get the items I need. And I've seen people pretty frustrated about it. I don't know. And titles and triumphs are all totally new, so it's not a perfect system. Do you think that there should be requirements for things like this? Do you think it's just part of the game? What's your take?
Yeah, I think there's a world where RNG wouldn't play a part in Triumph acquiring and title acquiring, and everybody would be totally fine with that, because it's more of like grinding out specifically a direct path, spending a certain amount of time in a certain area of the game to get that title, versus waiting on RNG to give you what you need. But the way Destiny is built, I don't know how we get to the level. I mean, the level of triumphs we have in this game went from
0 to
small
100,
record
right?
books.
Yeah,
like we went from small record books in Destiny 1 to nothing really, to the sorts of what we have now, to like 1,000%. So I don't know, with that, maybe you could dial it back a bit and take some of the RNG requirements out of it. I mean, I don't think anybody would complain, is what I'm saying,
right,
if the RNG element was taken out of it. But it's, again, like you mentioned, what is Destiny, kind of indirectly, and how you were saying it, it's kind of just become part of Destiny, right?
Yeah.
All the way down to you still trying to get your raid exotic. It stinks, but it's fun.
Yeah, it gives,
right?
And that's the other side of it, is all of these things I need. When I log in, I have an objective and I have something to chase. Even if some of these items, the Osprey rocket launcher, some of the Braytech weapons, I don't have them because I never cared about them, because they weren't unique enough for me to want them. Okay. Now I have an objective to play that stuff and to chase those. I don't know what I would be doing otherwise. I might just be grinding Gambit or playing the raid more. Or maybe I'd probably be chasing Luna's Howl if I wasn't after all this junk.
Yeah. And these are the things that add the hobbyist level back to the game.
Right.
If you want to do it, right?
Right.
If you want
to dedicate
it's a
little bit of a double-edged sword, where like I feel the pain of it because I don't have it, but then it also it's led me to do things that they're still valuable activities. Like even though I've run like 20 clears of the Nightfall, it's been kind of fun to like optimize and speed run that, and get like super good at that strike. So now I know all the tricks. Like I just dominate that strike. Right.
Yeah. And it's cool that they have put things in place. Obviously, it's not everywhere, but for specifically the Nightfall.
Yeah, for the Nightfall, there's the mechanic.
It doesn't seem to be working for you, but
some RNG protection, and I think that could be a good solution that they need to look at for really any activity or item that is RNG based. That is, if it's going to be in a collection or if it's going to be a pinnacle item, because I've seen the same feedback about 1000 Voices. There's folks with dozens of clears and still don't have the weapon. It's like that old, vault experience, like have played for months and never have gotten Fatebringer, never got Vex Mythoclast. Like that used to be, you feel terrible for those people. And there were people that wouldn't get Gallarhorn until like the end of year 2 of Destiny 1.
It took me a while. That was Fatebringer for me too.
I think that they need, I think they've learned some of that because they've put some protections in place for exotic duplicates, for, for Nightfall, exclusive gear. And I think that if they rolled out something like that for items that you receive in RNG, then people would feel better about it. Cause I don't think the problem is the grind. I think the problem is like seeing folks that have better luck have the title and you're like, I've put in all the work, the same amount of work that you have, but you have it because you're luckier than me. Right. And I have friends that have some of these titles and I don't because they're just got luckier. And it burns a little bit, like, I want a title. Come on. Like I did all this
Classic
stuff.
Destiny style.
Yeah. So, I think that could be a more, I don't know, but that could be an easier to implement solution than maybe trying to take some of this stuff out or maybe not easier to implement, but it might be in better favor of the player. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's kind of some of my feedback, but I'm, at the same time, like I'm still enjoying chasing this stuff. And, like I mentioned this week, I have some very specific objectives in mind, that have me engaged.
I love having all the objectives too. Yeah. Like I update my to-do list every reset, like depending on what's going on. We kind of talked about that on the last show, and that's exciting, man. It's cool. It's that excitement's back of logging in and what are your goals and this or that. Talking about all this, I always think about that statement of playing games just because they're fun versus rewarding. And it's just so crazy. Our generation, all the different consoles and the games we've played and the different experiences we've had with different games. Dude, I mean, so many games back in the day we used to just play because they were fun, Yeah. And it's not that it's us, we've been groomed in a way that we like looter shooters and loot games, and we want loot and we want to be rewarded for the time we're playing, and we want the gear and we want this or that. It's like, we forget, like, it's not that we forget. It's just like, for example, Gambit is fun. What if we just played it because it was fun and there wasn't any loot tied to it? That's what it was like back in the day.
For sure.
But that's not games nowadays. That's not necessarily because of us. They're made differently.
Yeah.
It's a different experience. Yeah. I think about the OG Mario, dude, just playing it over and over and over again, trying to beat the game without losing all of your lives.
Right. You just come up with your own challenges.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We even did that with even more recent, and not so much recent to this day, but the original Twist. Actually, it was Twisted Metal 2. We loved those games, dude. And we made I remember my buddy and I, my best friend, we made our own challenge playing couch co-op on Twisted Metal 2 to beat the game without dying once. and that wasn't in the game as a challenge. There wasn't, you just beat the game as a challenge to beat the game, but we decided to try to beat it without dying at all. And we did accomplish it, right? And it's just a different experience now with games, at least many of them, than it used to be. So
yeah,
all still good.
Things are different.
All still fun. Just things are different.
I wanted to mention as well, the last Iron Banner is up this week, and I really was considering spending some time in Iron Banner, and I'm a little disappointed because I just don't have the time, but there's a bunch of triumphs associated with it, and I just haven't played enough. I mean, if I were to get at it this week, I would just have to play just Iron Banner 7 days straight. Mm-hmm. Have you played any Iron Banner this week?
I played one game, I think, because the weapons this particular time, they don't...
Aren't they the same as last month?
No, they're different. Okay. It's the SMG and the rocket launcher this time. Okay. Last time it was the sniper and the pulse.
Okay.
But the rolls on the sniper and the pulse last time were gorgeous. I had to get both of them. And then the SMG and the rocket launcher, I think they're decent rolls. I'd have to kind of look at them again, but like on my initial take or two on them is, one, the rolls weren't quite as appealing to me, and the weapon types. I don't really, I'm not really using SMGs right now and or rocket launchers a whole lot. I am using rocket launchers a little bit more, but the other layer of it is for me is I'm as close as you can be to 600. So I'm exhausting every other powerful engram option before I go run Iron Banner for all those powerful engrams.
Yeah.
So I'm just not, I don't know how much time I'm going to put in to Iron Banner. I'm not even thinking about the triumphs with Iron Banner right now. I haven't even went there. So
gotcha.
One game. That's it for me.
Yeah.
I had to get my Crucible power full drop, and I figured I might as well jump in Iron Banner versus just a normal Crucible match. So
yeah, and I've heard some not great things about just the competitiveness, and it's kind of that typical Iron Banner, like you're either rolling or getting rolled, I just think not enough people are playing it. I don't know. We've gone back and forth about Iron Banner for a while, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but for whatever reason, I think it needs some work.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a good time. It's just, it's weird now. It's totally different than it used to be with when Iron Banner would come up. We definitely needed activities in the game. Now we have so much to do. It's kind of like Festival of the Lost, like if there was too much grinding with that, I don't know when I would have fit it in.
Right.
It was a good balance. Iron Banner's like, it's here for the week and you need to grind it a ton. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I got other things that I want to do, which is fine. I don't have to do everything. So it'd be weird to see like when faction rallies come back and or trials for that matter, dude. Like things that are pulling our attention in 20 different directions. It'll be interesting to see what we choose to do. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's for me, this reset, man. One of my main things have been, ever since I got my horror story, dude, my power has just been increasing like substantially, getting that 1/600 on my character. And, I hit 598 last reset, and I'm like, okay, next reset, it's time for 600. And I jumped on reset this week, and like it's unreal how much you can get done in like a 2-hour amount of time if you're focused. Like I did so much stuff in a couple hours for powerful engram drops. Like anything, I started at the Dreaming City, and then I went and did this daily and that daily and the Flashpoint and the daily heroic and this or that, man. And when I first started it, I wasn't getting like great RNG on what I needed. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 like 3 or 4 in a row in that play session, I got different things I needed. I had like 5 or so pieces that weren't 600. And I even did the Ascendant Challenge. Like I was doing everything to get it. And dude, all I need right now, it was just like one after another. Finally started getting them all in that 2-hour play session, 2 or 3 hours. And now I just need a helmet. My helmet is the only thing. And now I'm at that point where everything I'm getting it's like a Titan Mark, energy weapon. I just need the helmet to drop and I'll hit 600. So, almost there.
So close.
Yes, so close. So it took me a little bit longer, I think, than maybe some Guardians. I was surprised to see, I did tweet out that I was 598 and that I really have enjoyed this power grind. It's actually been pretty fun. I think what makes it fun is how often you feel like you're working towards it with dailies and all the different ways to get powerful gear. I overall, like at this point, I think I really enjoyed it. Again, I know I'm probably behind a good chunk of Guardians that have already been 600 for a little while, but I sprinkled in a lot of PvP, and you don't get a lot of powerful rewards for that. And working on my Luna and stuff like that, so I sprinkled in probably at least half or more of my time into that. I'm really happy with how the progress felt in this expansion.
Good.
With that, I'm hoping to hit 600 before this reset's over, but I did. I just mentioned where I spent half of my time. I did get my Luna this week.
Nice. Congrats.
My Luna's how, man. Thanks. Dude, that last step to get 100 hand cannon precision kills, I learned something very valuable this season. I thought to myself, I'll just kind of work on it through the season. And, I have, 3 months or whatever to get the pinnacle weapon, one of them at least. Yeah, no. Specifically with Luna's Howl, I'm hoping to drop a video maybe with my impressions on it, but more so like what it does to the Crucible. Let me just tell you, this far into the season, being above Fabled and having to get 100 precision hand cannon kills with a Trust or a Crimson or any other legendary hand cannon other than Luna's Howl or Not Forgotten is like atrocious.
Yeah,
it is painful.
I've heard that a lot. That it's rough.
Dude, like it puts like immediately when you get Luna's Howl. I'm not saying those other guns you can't get kills with. Trust has like this crazy flinch factor. Like you could definitely still get killed by those weapons, but Luna's Howl is just on a whole nother level with that perk. And I would like to see hand cannons. It's not that I want to not make Luna's Howl and Not Forgotten like these awesome pinnacle rewards, but holy smokes, did they make every other legendary hand cannon just look like not as golden of a weapon, right? But I will say it was a heck of a grind. It was fun. I played a lot of the competitive playlist solo. I would say I played 60 to 70% of it solo to get to Fabled, and the remaining, of course, with the fire team. But it was a grind, man, and probably the most grindy it felt was when I got to those precision kills, and I think part of that was because it was so far into the season. But other than that, dude, now I have it, and it is like a permanent part of my Crucible loadout, and man, it feels good. It felt good to go to Shack's and have that thing sitting there waiting for me.
Oh, I bet, man. You're kind of like right in the nick of time too, right? Not a whole lot of time left to get it.
Weeks,
can I ask you? I mean, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this question, but I'll be able to get Luna's Howl next season if I want, right?
Yes. Yep. The only thing, like we talked about this last week, if I wouldn't have finished my hand cannon precision kills, I would still be exactly where I'm at on that. I just would have had to have hit Fabled
because the rank was after that, right? The rank requirement.
Yes. Well, it counts. Yes, the rank counts no matter when you hit it in the quest.
Right, but
you just have to be done before.
Was after the hand cannon kills.
Yes, it's after the hand cannon precision kills.
Is that you have to get to the step while you still have the rank requirement.
And it's the last step before Luna.
They need to, I think that it would be smart if they just put that, I don't know, it's tough, right? Because if you put it earlier on, then you would have to do that first before moving to the next step. So putting it last ensures that you can do the rest of the steps beforehand. But then if you can't finish a step, it's kind of a catch-22.
Oh, yeah.
And I know a lot of people were sweating those hand cannon kills, man.
Dude, it was rough. It was so rough.
And I'm going to definitely have a disadvantage next season trying to do that because everybody else is going to have Luna's Howl.
Yeah. And that's the lesson I learned. I'm grinding whatever Crucible Pinnacle weapon is out for season 5. I'm not even. I'll still sprinkle in some PVE, but not even as much as I did this season. I'm going to grind out that Pinnacle weapon, and then I'm going to, because fewer people. Obviously, the other layer of it is I will also have Luna's Howl. So I'm hoping. I love the quest system now, so I can still get Not Forgotten. Obviously, I probably won't be getting it until next season, but at least I'll have Luna in my loadout for the entirety of the season to try to hit Legend, right? So I love how powerful these Pinnacle weapons are, but man, it's weird the difference between even a Trust to the Luna, right?
Yeah.
And man, that thing is just a beast. It's exactly what I loved about D1 hand cannons, all the way to the, down to the look. It looks like a Lord High Fixer. It feels like a Lord High Fixer. It sounds cool. I know you love that gun too. Everything about it, man, and it is just a beast. And man, I feel for any Guardian that doesn't have it. And for example, like Iron Banner, dude, I jumped in Iron Banner and had that weapon. It's crazy in a non-competitive playlist in 6s. I know it's a little bit more chaotic, and you'd think with power and supers and that it wouldn't be as viable, but I was still just like ripping through Guardians, having that thing in my loadout. So I just immediately am like, I was just that Guardian a couple days ago that didn't have it. I'm sorry. I feel for you guys.
Yeah.
But man, it's cool though. I'm definitely happy to have it. When I finished it, the other thing I did this reset is I finally, one criticism I have is how it locks you, that whole quest locks you into a playstyle and a character until you complete it, at least to this point. I get it. I get the point. Like, you're getting a hand cannon, you got to do things with hand cannons. But like, I had to play a certain way for a big portion of it. And I had to play on my Titan, right? Because that's who I started on. I didn't want to reset my progress. If I switched over to my Hunter, then I would start fresh again. So as soon as I got it, I switched back over to my Hunter, picked up the quest for Not Forgotten, and I'm like, I just needed a change in the Crucible, right? I'm like goofing around with invis builds and stuff like that, and I love my Titan. I love my Titan in the Crucible, but I needed a change because for the past 2+ months now, I've been using hand cannons and my Titan for everything in the Crucible. So I don't know. I think there's room for some tweaking there in the way the quests are built. Again, I get the point. You're working towards an elite hand cannon. A lot of the quest is doing stuff with hand cannons, but I just don't know, like, for the playing of the season, locking, players in like that, it just starts to get stale after a little while. So yeah, a little bit of constructive feedback on that.
I hear you.
But other than that, dude, like, it's been a heck of a reset. I'm hoping to hit 600. I am, no joke, a couple notches away, one helmet away. That's 598
man, you could
or something.
definitely do that. Yeah.
Yeah, from hitting 600. And on top of that, I've been, we were talking before the show, I forgot that Diablo 3 came out on Switch this week. I very quickly picked that up as soon as I remembered, and been casually playing that here and there, like before bed, and squeezing in maybe a little bit at lunch or something during the day. And I'm already like a level 28 barbarian.
Nice.
You got to get it, dude. It's amazing on the Switch.
Yeah, I'm gonna plan to pick it up too, and we might be able to do some dungeons together.
Yeah, we definitely. I don't know that I've played any multiplayer on the Switch yet, so finally something.
I got to mention too, I almost forgot that I finally got Malfeasance this week.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was going to ask you that when you mentioned, I don't think you've been on since you got it. The last story we heard was you just didn't get it.
Okay, yeah. So I finally, oh my gosh, I finally, that week, I finally got a meatball kill. And I got it to drop. Cool. And the quest didn't take too long to get to for me because I was playing with a full team. But I left off before I went out of town. I had one step left, the last step, which was the invasions and stuff. So I knocked that out basically over 2 nights and got it reset this week and got to play around with it some. It's a fun gun. It's really interesting how it has just basically no recoil. It just kind of pops up just a tiny little
I
bit.
get killed by that thing in the Crucible too, man. Speaking of legendaries that aren't Luna's Howl, but yeah, I do. It's a 180, right? It's a 180 RPM.
Yes.
Which is my favorite type of hand cannons.
Yeah. And I went into a Gambit match with it, and I did find it is effective versus invaders with that 3-tap. I didn't have any heavy ammo on when someone invaded, and I was positioned properly so I could get a couple of shots in. And that 3-tap on them without having to get a precision shot was effective for sure. And it's great against the blockers and stuff. It's a very cool weapon. Very, very fun, beautiful looking gun.
Yeah, I want to get it eventually, just at least for my collection.
And I was, I've seen a lot of people getting some of the new exotics and stuff, and I was fortunate enough in one day or one play session the other night, I got both. I think it's called Antius wards, which are the legs that I think that's what it's called. The legs that reflect when you slide; they deflect object attacks.
Yeah.
I haven't really gotten to play with it enough. Like, I haven't brought it into PvP to do some shenanigans yet, but I'm excited to try it. And then
another troll
I also got the Titan chess piece, the Heart of Inmost Light.
Oh yeah,
and so that has a kind of cool gameplay loop. It essentially when you use your class and your grenade and melee ability, it empowers you basically. Like, I forget the term it used, but it's like empowerment. It makes the abilities more lethal or more effective, and then it makes your other abilities charge faster. So basically you get into this loop, like using the 3 abilities. So I would, throw a grenade, and then I would do a melee, and then I'd throw up my barricade, and you would kind of just keep each one like moving along and be able to use them, every so often, and they would get more powerful, right? So it's kind of fun to play around with, especially in PvE, and it made me deploy my barrier a lot more. And it's a fun little exotic. I like it.
Very cool. Yeah. I'll probably wait for, well, I say wait. Dude, I haven't gotten an exotic since I mentioned Cerberus, I don't know how many episodes ago. I don't know what's going on with my exotic. I've even been doing the weekly spider bounties because, heard that those have a tendency to drop exotics. Yeah, nothing. Legendaries every time. I'm due for an exotic, man. Yeah. Like I
have a pretty good track record getting them for my Cora for the doing the 20 bounties. I often get exotics from her. I don't know if it's just because it's, just another challenge, and challenges have a good drop rate, but I've gotten a bunch of stuff from her. Make sure you're doing that one.
I've gotten to the point where I bank my clan bounties, and then as I get a couple days before the reset, I just bank every single bounty that I complete, so I can just turn all those in and get those powerful rewards. Now, of course, not so much on my Titan since I'm about to hit 600. It's always, I definitely feel cool. 600 feels neat to hit compared to maybe previous expansions, but I also love too how you get real close and all of a sudden you're just showered with all these 600 level. I mean, naturally you're progressing through, but it's like, man, I have so much infusion fuel now for everything that I have in my inventory, right? All my PvP loadouts, everything. I'm just keeping it all so that I can max out all my different builds for different things. So I'm a little behind, but I've finally hit that point. I guess I'm behind. I was surprised to see on Twitter how many Guardians were right there with me that hadn't hit 600 yet.
Yeah, I think it just depends on how you play, and how many how varied the activities you play are.
Right.
But I think that the power climb is, this is kind of, if you're not playing mega hardcore and just doing everything every week, this is pretty good. I mean, you're close to 600s towards the end of the season. You've kind of gotten there at the pace that you wanted,
Yeah. I guess it is, if you think about it too, maybe there should be more opportunities for power rewards in the Crucible, but then again, maybe not. I mean, naturally the PvE side of the game, there's just more things to do to reward you more. Versus Crucible, you're just going in the Crucible or you're not.
Mm-hmm.
You have a daily and you have a weekly,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I don't know how they would do that. Trials, of course, that will be a substantial part of it. I'll be spending plenty of time there when that returns, so I'm sure there'll be associated weekly powerful engrams for that every week.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. That's where my Vault 2.0 with the Postmaster came in. So far, Joe was calling me out last week for using my Postmaster as like Vault 2.0, as I call it. I have not done that really since D2 launched. The only thing that could possibly change that is when Trials launches and we just start getting showered with loot, hopefully, again from Trials. Yeah. That's when that all started with me. But again, we didn't have 500 slots in the Vault either. So.
Right. Yeah, and I keep running out of space, and I still am. I'm having to go in and delete more and delete more. I think armor is probably the biggest culprit. And then I have like 50 shaders in my vault. So, I mean, I could clear out all those stacks, but I'm kind of more of like, well, I'll just, they're there. I don't need the materials.
I've got some in there too.
Like if I want the shaders that are there, I'd rather just hang on to them. I don't know, but I hoard everything. That's just how I am.
Yeah. Well, Joe and I got into the mod conversation last week, and he was telling me, we realized that like I set on a ton of tokens and stuff like that, and that he doesn't. He just turns them all in. So we had decided maybe that's why I didn't have some mod components. I still think there's definitely some I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. There's validity to his point. I think there's definitely mod components to be had with tokens and vendors and stuff like that at the tower. I know you can get them from planetary vendors, but I've also tried that. Since the last episode, I did what he told me to do, and I've dropped like 500 to 600 tokens into vendors. And I did also one that I had quite a few at a planetary vendor. 0 loot with mod components. I haven't gotten any. And he said that's how he gets a decent chunk of his. So I don't know what is going on with my mod component RNG. Maybe Bungie's listening and they just like entered into the field for me. 0 mod components for you, Guardian. I don't know what the deal is. I think I'm sitting on 6 or 7 still, dude. I don't know what the deal is with my mod component issue. Are you getting them? I know you didn't have a ton.
I get some mods to drop, but not. I mean, are you saying just
Well, he was, of course, saying like I was, you dismantle the gear to get the mod.
Sure.
And I was more so focused on getting mod components. Yeah. So again, let me rephrase that. I haven't gotten any mods. I haven't got any gear to drop with mods. I'm even to the point where I'm like wondering if the gunsmith or shacks actually ever drop gear with mods, but he confirmed they do.
I think it's just the same as any legendary like that you're gonna get to drop. Like there's a chance, and I'll get like I was noticing this week. Like I had a number of items that I had dropped that I dismantled that did have mod component or mods on them. But I still think that the problem is the that you have to have 10 for one mod is just egregious. I think it needs to be like 3 to 5 at the most.
Yeah.
And then you can actually buy what you want when you need it. But
yeah, I definitely have hit that point being so close to 600 where I'm starting to stack certain things again. I'm not infusing. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that at the moment because I'm just trying to hit one base 600. So I'm getting cores again. I'm stacking stuff up again, except mod components. I don't know why I'm not getting those. But yeah,
okay,
that's my experience up to this point.
Yeah. Well, quite a interesting reset for the both of us. Now it's time for some discourse. I know we've got a speak pipe from our buddy Sir B. Leslie queued up, so let's take a listen.
Hey guys, it's Sir B. Leslie here, your Guardian friend from the UK. I've got a very quick question for you, and it's this. Do you still use Year 1 weapons, and if so, what do you use? I'm only asking this because at present, for all activities, I seem to still be using the Vigilance Wing, Uriel's Gift, and Sins of the Past, and it seems to pretty much be a good setup for all activities as well. And I'm surprised that Uriel's Gift is still holding its own in the Crucible for me after a year, but it seems to just do the trick. So I've never bothered really swapping out with anything else. I'm still loving the podcast. I'm still playing Destiny 2, and I'm at 593 light at the moment. So the plan is to get to 600 and then start on my Titan and then my Warlock as well. But the podcast is keeping me up to date with what's current, what sort of things are happening, and I'm really, really enjoying the game. It's in a good place. But you also know as well that I'm a bit of a cowboy on the side, so I'm doing a bit of Red Dead. But anyway, take care, guys, and all the best with the podcast. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Mr. Sir B. Leslie, thank you so much for the speak pipe. It's been just a little bit since we got a speak pipe from you. Good question. Destiny 2 Year 1 weapons. Do you still use any of those?
I have some. I'm about to pull up Dim to look through. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. I mean, there's definitely some I still enjoy. The Colony, the tractor cannon. Like, there's some exotics that are still really fun. At some point, I did bring out Graviton Lance. I remember.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that one out in a little while.
What else?
Midnight Coup, of course.
Yeah, Whisper of the Worm, Sleeper. I mean, those are pretty handy still.
Yeah.
Wardcliff. I'm listing a lot of exotics. I play with Huckleberry.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Because I got the Catalyst.
I still have Scathelocke in my inventory. Yeah. I want to infuse that. Of course, the
Telesto.
The EP Shoddy.
Yeah, EP Shoddy absolutely is almost never leaves my inventory. But a lot of these are kind of obvious choices, right? I think he's more interested, is there any legendaries that you still hang on to and like?
Yeah, I used Sins of the Past, actually. He mentioned that was in his loadout. I still use it. Vigilance, I just actually threw that in my vault. I hadn't used it in a while. It's definitely kind of a pulse meta right now, but there's so many good options.
I mean, I'm
Vigilance
looking through my vault, and I have dismantled the large majority of my year 1 legendaries. The ones I kept are my favorite ones that were masterworked. And they're just sitting there in my vault. I haven't brought them out.
I still love, is it Nature of the Beast, I think?
Yeah.
Is that 180 hand cannon, energy hand cannon? That was always a fave of mine. Again, though, I haven't gotten it out really in a
Crooked
while,
Fang gets some play. I use Crooked Fang now. These are year 2 rolls, though. So it's almost, you would almost consider it a year 2 weapon. But yeah, I'm interested, as well. What kind of stuff have people held on to? I mean, there's some really good choices I know that work really well. What is the raid? The Leviathan raid Pulse. Conspirator, I want to say, is really good still in the Crucible. Conspirator's the Scout. I'm thinking...
The inaugural dress. That thing is an absolute beast.
Yeah. Still
in the Crucible.
Outperforms a lot of other pulses.
Yes.
There's still a lot of good guns. I think, new and shiny, though, is always fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. And we, of course, we could throw it out to you guys, too. We mentioned last week, you can always tweet at us at Destiny Reset or email us, which we'll mention here soon. But we always post this show on YouTube, man. And I said last week a couple of times, I'm like, don't hesitate to just comment in the YouTube section. We're checking that stuff, of course, as well. So we're always interested to hear your feedback on any of these topics or questions that the Derp fam or the listeners send in. So it's a good question. We could talk about this one for a while. I'm scouring my inventory to see what I'm using still.
No doubt. Well, thanks for the speak pipe, man. If you are listening and you'd love to send us some feedback or some discourse, you can send us a speak pipe, speakpipe.com/Destiny Reset, or an email, destinyresetpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear what you're doing in the game right now, feedback on things we talk about in the episode. I'd love to hear some discourse, what you'd like to see coming up here in the Black Armory. What are you excited for? What do you think we might get to do or play, just give me your best speculation. Send it our way.
Definitely.
All right. Cool. We've got a couple of shout outs for some new patrons. Who are these individuals?
Johnny Drama. Thank you so much. And what you want to give a shot at the second one here?
Youth and Bantu.
Youth and Bantu.
Yeah.
Thank you, Guardians. Both this reset patrons, Dirt Fan patrons. Now we really appreciate the support.
Johnny Drama's an Entourage reference. If you didn't catch that,
I'm not an Entourage.
Yeah, that's why I laughed. He's a really goofy character. If you don't know what a patron is, go to patreon.com/Destiny Reset, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support the production budget of our show. If you do, you get a couple perks. You get a shout out on the show. You get your gamer tag on our website and an invitation to a Discord channel just for our Dirt Fan patrons and supporters. And as always, we thank the many patrons that have helped support us, support the show. It really makes a big difference for me and Arrow Knight, and we appreciate that very much.
Thank you, Guardians.
Yes, indeed. All right, my friend.
Another
show in the books. On the reels.
There. Pushing 200.
When I saw, I was like, holy cow, it's 172. I feel like we're really climbing up there. Where has time gone?
It's
200 will be next year sometime. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, awesome, man. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at all the places. Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, all the things. It's Arrow Knight. With a zero.
With a zero.
Don't forget that. Arrow Knight with a zero. What about you, man?
Good. You can find me at CyborgSasquatch on Twitter and Mixer. And finally, you can find us at Destiny Reset on Twitter or on the web, DestinyResetPodcast.com, your source for all things DRP, including links to subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app of choice. Thank you if you're listening on Apple Podcasts for your reviews. As always, those help us get seen and heard by more listeners. If you haven't dropped us a review on Apple Podcasts, please do. We would appreciate it. You can just leave a simple star rating or leave your written review. We really enjoy those, reading those when they pop up.
Yes. Thank you, Guardians. We appreciate it.
All right, man. Fun to talk with you again this week. I'm going to go grind strange terrain.
I'm going to try and get the helmet to drop.
Good luck.
Yes, it's. I've exhausted, I think, almost all of my powerful drops, at least for right now. I got to wait for another daily to pop up, so it's the classic. I guess I'm at RNG's hands now.
Yeah.
To hit the power level cap. So we're both in the same boat to wrap up this episode. Thank you, Destiny. All right, guys. Until next week. Have fun playing Destiny 2, and take care, Guardians.